There are beautiful cars. There are fast cars. And then there are cars that completely redefine what an automobile can be. In 1954, Mercedes-Benz introduced a sports car unlike anything the world had ever seen. It had futuristic doors, race-winning technology, and performance that embarrassed cars costing far more. It wasn't just another luxury coupe, it became the fastest production car of its time. Today, more than 70 years later, the 300 SL Gullwing is considered one of the greatest automobiles ever built. Some examples sell for millions of dollars. Others sit in museums where thousands of people come every year just to see them. But what made this car so special? Why do collectors still dream of owning one? And how did a company rebuilding after World War II create one of the most iconic sports cars in history? This is the story of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. To understand the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, we have to go back to the early 1950s. Europe was still recovering from World War II. Factories had been destroyed, resources were limited, and Mercedes-Benz, once known for building some of the world's finest automobiles, had to rebuild almost everything. The company needed more than new cars. It needed a new reputation. Mercedes decided there was only one place to prove itself: the racetrack. In 1952, the company introduced a lightweight racing car called the Mercedes-Benz W194. It wasn't designed to be luxurious. It wasn't designed to be comfortable. It was built for one purpose: winning races. And that's exactly what it did. The W194 achieved impressive victories in some of the world's toughest endurance races, including the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the Carrera Panamericana. These wins proved that Mercedes engineers could still compete with the very best. But something unexpected happened. The public fell in love with the race car. People wanted a version they could actually drive on public roads. One of the people who recognized this opportunity was American importer Max Hoffman. He believed wealthy customers in the United States would buy a road-going version of the W194. Hoffman convinced Mercedes-Benz that there was a market waiting for such a car. That conversation changed everything. Instead of building another luxury sedan, Mercedes began developing something completely different: a sports car inspired by racing, but built for everyday roads. It would become known as the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, and it would soon introduce one of the most recognizable designs in automotive history. When people see the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, the first thing they notice is the doors. They open upward, like the wings of a bird. Today, they're one of the most recognizable features in automotive history. But here's the surprising part. The Gullwing doors were never created to make the car look dramatic. They existed because of engineering. The 300 SL was based on the successful U194 race car. To keep the car as light as possible, Mercedes engineers designed an innovative tubular space frame chassis. Instead of relying on heavy steel panels for strength, the car used a lightweight framework made from thin steel tubes. The entire chassis weighed just over 80 kilograms. Yet it was incredibly strong and rigid. This gave the 300 SL excellent handling and outstanding performance. But the design created one major problem. The frame ran high along both sides of the cockpit, much higher than in a conventional car. There simply wasn't enough space for normal doors. If Mercedes had used traditional doors, drivers would have had to climb over the frame every time they entered the car. It wasn't practical. The engineers had two options: redesign the entire chassis or rethink the doors. They chose the second solution. The doors were attached to the roof and opened upward. What began as a practical engineering decision quickly became the car's signature feature. People had never seen anything like it. At auto shows, crowds gathered around the 300 SL. Photographers couldn't stop taking pictures. The unusual doors made the car look futuristic, almost like an aircraft. In fact, the nickname Gullwing came naturally. With both doors open, the car resembled the wings of a seagull in flight. Mercedes never planned to create an automotive icon. They simply solved a technical challenge, and in doing so, they created one of the most unforgettable designs the automotive world has ever seen. But the gullwing doors were only part of the story. Underneath that long hood was another innovation that would make the 300 SL the fastest production car of its era. The stunning design was only half the story. What truly made the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL extraordinary was its performance. Under the long hood was a 3-litre inline-six engine, derived from Mercedes' luxury sedan, the 300 Adenauer. But for the 300 SL, the engine was extensively redesigned. The biggest breakthrough was the introduction of mechanical fuel injection. At the time, most production cars still used carburetors. Mercedes took a completely different approach. The new fuel injection system delivered fuel much more precisely, allowing the engine to produce around 215 horsepower. That number may seem modest today, but in 1954, it was remarkable. Combined with the lightweight space frame and the car's aerodynamic body, the results were extraordinary. The 300 SL could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour. In about 8 seconds, more importantly, it could reach a top speed of up to 160 miles per hour, or approximately 260 kilometers per hour, depending on the final drive ratio. That made it the fastest production car in the world. Imagine seeing a road car travel at those speeds. In the mid-1950s, it wasn't just fast. It felt like a glimpse into the future. Journalists praised its performance, owners admired its engineering, and competitors took notice. The 300 SL proved that a road car could combine racing technology, luxury, and everyday usability. It wasn't built only for the racetrack. It was built for people who wanted to experience world-class engineering every time they turned the key. More than 70 years later, the numbers may no longer seem extraordinary, but the innovation behind them still commands respect. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SL didn't just set new performance standards, it showed the world what the future of sports cars could look like. Production of the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing lasted from 1954 to 1957. During those 4 years, only 1,400 Gullwing coupes were built. Even when it was new, it was an exclusive automobile. Most people would never see one in person. That rarity became part of its story. As the years passed, the 300 SL transformed from a high-performance sports car into one of the world's most desirable classics. Collectors searched for the best-preserved examples, museums proudly displayed them, and auction prices continued to climb. Today, a well-maintained Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing can sell for more than $1 million. The rarest examples have reached several million, making it one of the most valuable classic Mercedes-Benz models ever produced. But its value isn't measured only in money. The 300 SL introduced ideas that influenced sports car design for decades. Its lightweight engineering, its advanced fuel injection system, its unmistakable gullwing doors. Together, they created a car that was unlike anything else on the road. Even today, more than 70 years after its debut, the 300 SL still turns heads wherever it appears. Not because it's loud, not because it's the fastest anymore, but because true icons never go out of style. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing wasn't simply a beautiful automobile, it was proof that great engineering can become timeless art. And perhaps that's the greatest achievement any car can ever earn. Not just to be remembered, but to be admired, generation after generation.